It is exactly what my gut reaction told me. It is the reverse of what happened at Celtic Park on the 2nd of February. And for me, 2 minutes in, it's already a long way back for Celtic.
How can you see looking through those tears? Don't you know you're with your winning goal?
It could be over by half time. Celtic, it's panic stations.
I can't believe that you're alone in here. Let me warm your hands against the cold.
Rangers are all over them here. Rangers are bang up for this, Gordon.
Celtic need to be careful. This game could get away from them.
What did he say?
Callum McGregor, the captain. He's making really good progress. Terrific this from McGregor. And Rogic. It's blocked. Atate. McGregor saves. And Rogic has put it away. And how about that for a rapid response from Celtic? They are level.
Close encounter with a hard-hearted man who never gave half of what he got. It's made you wish that you'd never been born. That's a shame, cause you got the lot.
Jota hoisting it in. Starfelt in there. And it's Cameron Carter-Vickers who has tucked it away. A frantic start to the half. A frantic end to the half. And the pendulum swings the way of Celtic now.
Hey, yeah, you with the sad face, come up to my place and live it up. You beside the dance floor, what do you cry for? Let's live it up.
No, for me, I think it was going to be very difficult for Rangers to get back into the title anyway, but as soon as it's done today for me.
If you smile, the walls will come down on all the people in this pickup joint. But if you laugh, you level this town. Lonely girl, that's just the point.
The banner at the start of the game read from the Rangers supporters, "This city is ours." The banner may now be able to read, "This city is theirs."
Hey, yeah, you with the sad face, come up to my place and live it up. You beside the dance floor, what do you cry for? Let's live it up.
Just get it into your heads. We never stop. We never stop. We'll stop at half time and we'll stop at the end of the game when we celebrate. But during the game, we don't stop. If the opposition wants to stop, that's good for us. We'll take advantage of it.
Hey, yeah, you with the sad face, come up to my place and live it up. You...
Hello there and welcome to another episode of 4Tims in a Podcast. You join us on Monday 4th of April. It is just over 24 hours since the Celtics were victorious at Ibrox to put themselves 6 points clear in the league with 6 games to go. Straight into it, we all predicted a Celtic win and they duly delivered. It is a massive point in this season. I don't think there's any point in sort of underplaying it and being at the whole still twisting turns. The title is absolutely Celtic have got one hand on it at the moment, and compared to where we were 12 months ago when after match day 32 we actually lost the league when we drew not each with Dundee United. Danny, how do you sum up this Celtic team and how do you sum up yesterday?
It was a great Celtic win yesterday. I think losing a goal so soon, you were kind of fearing the worst. I think after 5 minutes I thought we were going to get 2 or 3 taken off us. In the first half it was a bit of kind of roles reversed for what happened the last time, but the goal, the equaliser's probably, it's easy to look back, but the goal, the equaliser probably won us the game in the end because it completely killed all their momentum and the crowd just get completely taken right out of the game and they were never really a factor again. And even though they did press at times and we gave the ball away in some silly areas, there were a bit of slack play in the first 20 minutes. To be honest, we were never really under any sustained pressure for the rest of the game. And I said it earlier in the group chat, but I thought the win yesterday was a vindication for Postecoglou and everything that he's tried to do at the club since he came in. They didn't just start banging the ball forward or getting rid of it, or they kept playing their game, and eventually we've got better footballers than them across the park. They'll try and dispute that. They don't want to admit it, but it's true. Cal McGregor is better than anything they've got. Rogic is better than anything they've got. So we got McGregor and Rogic on the ball. And as the first half was going on, it was us that was looking more likely to score. I thought Maeda should have had a penalty when he got brought down. Andy Walker said he missed the ball. I think Andy Walker missed him dribbling round McGregor, who just takes him out. He should have scored. He should have rounded McGregor and scored. It was a good horn for McGregor, but Rogic should have won. I thought Greg Taylor was going to score when he burst through. He cut it back for Rogic, but as the first half on, you thought that we were really settling in, and I think Jackie Magus had a header that he should have done better as well. So with plenty of chances, and then the goal, for all the talk of how bad Celtic are at set pieces, defending them, Jota just puts a cross into the box. Thought he'd invited the keeper out with the height on it, but McGregor doesn't like coming off his line. They probably knew that. That's probably something that Ange and the coaching staff have probably instilled into him, is he can put balls into the box because McGregor doesn't come out for them. I think Starfelt wins it, him and Balogun, but it falls to Carter Vickers, and it's a really good finish under pressure for a centre half with his weaker foot, and we didn't really look back after that. I thought the second half we were so much in control of the game. You invite them on a wee bit when you sit off, but there wasn't at no point in that second half did I think, they're going to score if we don't come out, or they're going to, if we keep playing like this, they're going to score. I thought we were in complete control, and the subs again were really good. I thought O'Reilly was unlucky, he just got a knock, but I actually thought if he'd have stayed on, it would have been even more comfortable, because, Rogic, they played really well, he was getting a lot of joy out of them, and O'Reilly just kind of similar player. Tati looked absolutely knackered. I thought I looked bad after 50 minutes, but he gave me a second one. But sort of Beaton just so cool, composed. I know he gave the ball away a few times, but just his general calmness that he brought to the team. And as I say, apart from that save for Hart, which was a great save for Sakara, I just never thought we were under any pressure, and we seen it out. I thought we seen it out really well. In fact, it was us, for all the talk of us being tired and knackered and tiring and fading, it was Celtic who looked like scoring, more likely to score in the last 10 minutes. Abada missed two great chances. A really enjoyable win when you think about where we were last year, as you say, and things that have went on, just to be where we were, to be 6 clear with 6 games to go, such a massive boost. I know it's effectively 7 with the goal difference as well, and nothing's done yet. There's still a long way to go as far as our Celtic team's concerned, but Rangers can win their next 6 league games 8-0 and still not win the league. So it's a great position we've put ourselves in, and you know what, we fully deserved it, and I'm so happy for the players and the manager and the fans that were there. It was great, and it was a really, really good win, and you just hope now that by this point, like as I say, on Saturday night we could be 9 points clear, and they've got to go to St Mirren, so we'll see. Hopefully we could be even further in front by this time next week.
Aye, definitely. I've covered a lot. I'm sure we'll touch on it as we move on. Tony, I'll come to you. It was a nightmare start. Rangers took the lead very early, 2.5 minutes on the clock. Aaron Ramsey got his goal. I think it was pretty poor defending from Josip Juranovic, and even after that, Hart was probably unlucky. He gets a hand to it, and on another day probably saves it completely. But I thought apart from that, and I think they had a chance just after that when I was speaking to Danny about it earlier, and it was Juranovic again was sort of caught in that, and Ryan Kent was just about an inch away from possibly adding a second. It was, as much as I'm saying it was a terrible start, it's hard to call it a terrible start when you respond so quickly. What did you make of the game yesterday?
Well, obviously the start's it's a nightmare. You always expect him to come flying with the chat, especially at Ibrox. We kind of predicted on the podcast they would be bouncing, and the thing we said was don't concede the early goal, try and get in the front foot, and we just didn't manage it. We were quite clumsy. I thought through the game we done, there's a few times we should just have went long. I know that's not the style of playing we didn't, and we put ourselves under pressure. The Ramsey goal, Juranovic gets caught, doesn't he usually get caught out? He did for the goal. It was a good pass by Bassey, and then nobody's really following in with Aaron Ramsey. It's a tap in, but after that, after the first 5 minutes, we settled in. I think Dan, it was you that says Rogic was due a big game against them. I don't think he'd scored against Rangers since 2018, but he really rolled back years to the Rodgers era where he was everywhere. I thought he was absolutely class. The goal comes for an Alan McGregor mistake. If we do go on and see out this title, we owe him a lot, because he has thrown points away for him. He's been great for us this season. He should catch the shot for Hatate, I think, and Rogic is there to follow up. And then after that, I thought we were the better team in the first half. I mean, at what age I was watching, I'm going, we are a better team than this mob. I thought made in behind, it worked perfectly. No, but I thought the second half, look, it's always nervy. You're desperate to win. Every second feels like a fucking eternity. I thought we were comfortable. I thought Starfelt was really good. Greg Taylor was great. Joe Hart made the save for Sakala when it was required. Everybody played their part, even the subs when they came on. Abada should have had a double. I don't know if he was just a wee bit rusty. If he'd been on maybe the whole game, he probably would have buried it. They just crossed the ball. That's all they do. It's just cross after cross, and it's kind of low averages, hoping that they're going to get a bounce to one of their players. They didn't really carve us open or create anything clear cut in the second half. If any team should have scored in the second half, it was us. We could have won 3 or 4-1 quite easily. But no, it's a massive credit to the manager. I mean, the position we're in the news is quite incredible. When I think a year ago they'd already won the league and we were in absolute turmoil. This podcast was just us ranting and raving like lunatics, moaning about the board and fucking anybody we could moan about. It's been an incredible turnaround, and can't heap enough praise on the manager. I think every Celtic fan's like that now. I mean, the job the guy's done's been ridiculous, and I enjoy watching us play. I mean, it's free-flowing attack football, and there's a lot of kind of myths about this team. They're blown out their arse after 60 minutes. They can't defend. It's just absolute garbage nonsense. This team have scored more goals than anybody and they've conceded less. So we sit where we belong at the minute, at the top of the league, looking down on the Rangers.
Aye, that's exactly where we wanted to be. At some point this season, it didn't feel like we were going to be there, but that is now 32 games domestically unbeaten. Andy, what did you make of yesterday?
Aye, as we said, like the first couple of minutes, you start fearing the worst. We didn't really get our foot in the ball, we a bit shaky, and again, that's just says a lot about the team. I learned a lot about this team and the way they handled themselves during that game. Even the response for their goal, it would have been easy, and say previous Celtic teams would have maybe crumbled at that, but it was kept it calm. Obviously, you get a bit fortunate with Alan McGregor taking an assist for a Rogic goal, but we got ourselves obviously up there. McGregor just leading by example, really sort of being a captain. Raved about him for long enough and how good we think he is, but sometimes you're going to need that. That's why he's there. That's part of the reason why he was given the captain's armband. Not only has he sort of been there, seen it, done it for Celtic, but him himself he's the type of guy that will lead by example. That game, so that's the sort of thing when you say take a game by the scruff of the neck, that's exactly what he does when he just busts through and takes it by a few people, and it's not the sort of cleanest ball close to the box, but he puts it in that area and he creates that opportunity for that to happen. To a man yesterday at times, like we were just fucking brilliant. Carter Vickers getting the goal was massively this is huge, like he deserved it. And again, I thought as we think Danny mentioned it earlier, it looked as if almost it was, I think it's Balogun, it looks as if he headers that across, but see, if I'm watching it again, it's Starfield. And again, another guy who I thought both of them were just fucking solid at the back. Like, Rangers' game is get the ball high, wide, and just fuck it in the box and see if it gives you a penalty. If no, try and play for a ricochet off somebody. But both of them were just imperious at the back at times. Dealt with everything they came into the box. Taylor, outstanding. So he was another player who he's seen plenty of criticism in his time, but his performances and the way he goes about his business, he's kept his heat doing, he's worked hard, and he's been phenomenal. Maeda, he's probably fucking still running at this point. Speaks for itself. Jackie Marcus, another one. The way he puts himself about, he was just fucking pressing the game and all. And then the attitude for a guy like that, it's so much to his game. It's not just about being a sort of penalty box striker and one-touch finishes. It's they're willing to do that sort of fucking nasty and nitty-gritty side to the game and really just work their fucking arses off for each other. Hatate again, I don't know, he just looks tired to me. You seen it, I can't remember who it was he was trying to track back, but he was fucking blown. Made the sub, made the change, and again it was just sort of went on for air. I thought B-Tom was the right sub to make, done well, done what was asked of him. Unfortunately, O'Reilly has to go off, and then again Turnbull comes on. It just shows you the sort of strength and depth we've got in the positions now. Bad I should have had to. I mean, even the Rogic chance where Taylor busts down wide and cuts him back as well. Rogic should have, probably tell you himself, should have done better with that. Like, we really could have had more goals on the day as well. But I think it was a performance that will go down in the memory for so many reasons. We spoke before when we were talking about previews and talking about previous favourite games and things like that. Sometimes, battering them at times is brilliant to see. Just the sweetest thing for me is the fact that they've went 1-0 up and their hopes get that wee bit more that this was going to be their moment. And before the half-time whistles went, we've ripped that away from them. It's just brilliant for me. That it just speaks volumes about the attitude of this team. What the manager's been able to do in this short period of time is fucking frightening. There's no other way to describe it. For the ridicule the guy took when he first came in and to where we are now is magical, and I can't wait to see what happens next. That's the thing, it just makes me excited to see what the future holds. But to a man, outstanding the way the players applied themselves and just the sort of the good times that they've brought back for us. I mean, for me, there's just going to be plenty more of them.
Certainly hope so. I mean, as you say, I think everybody to a man, even like we're not going to be negative on this podcast today, but I thought that as I said, Urana, which was suspect for like the first 5-10 minutes, but again, he was a great outlet going forward. And you mentioned Tatati, I know that he had one of his quieter games, but I think he's very important for the first goal, because Maeda sort of tries to go up the line, loses the ball, and it's Tatati that plays him through, and then eventually I think it gets released to Jota, is it? And Jota comes back, gives it Callum McGregor. As you have mentioned, he's just the leader of the pack. He's the skipper, and spoke very highly about him yesterday. Again, it's complete vindication for Callum McGregor again, because like, even I know he's already won massive amount of trophies at Celtic and everybody loves him, but like last season I'm sure he would have been as disappointed as anybody, and like not only just losing the league and having a terrible season, but like he scored an own goal there last season, get sent off as well. So for him to just sort of drag us back into that game, I thought it was brilliant. I thought he's, as much as we praise him as a leader, as Danny said, he's a fantastic football player, and I think that's why people were slightly worried in the summer when Ange came. Like, people thought, maybe Callum McGregor would think that it was time for him to go and try something else. There was like wee whispers about Brendan Rodgers maybe coming back in for him, but I'm absolutely delighted that he did choose to stay, and he has really grown into the Celtic captaincy the more the seasons went on, and he's really, like, he's performing superbly, and I think he's right up there in terms of the player of the year talk. And I know he doesn't often get the headlines, but he's so pivotal to what this team is. And like the last derby was obviously, like, everybody was just amazed at him playing with his injury on his face, and like, obviously still wearing the protective gear, so like that's obviously still slightly an issue, obviously not as much as then, but he's just an absolute warrior, and I was delighted for him. And the defence, like Joe Hart, as when he's mentioned, he makes a great save from Fashion Sakala, but I thought just in general, like even the first half, second half, like the amount of times that Rangers, like one of you said that the amount of crosses they put in, I seen somebody in one of my group chats says I think it was 43 crosses they put in, and they could have put in 143, because between Joe Hart, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Carol Starfelt, like, I thought that they just absolutely soaked it up, and they could still be there now trying to score, and I don't think they'd go. I think Carter-Vickers maybe missed the flight of one and was put wide, but apart from that, I thought we were outstanding defensively. Greg Taylor, like, for the amount of criticism that boy's took in the last 2-3 years, he yet again, like in the February game, he was magnificent, and yesterday I just thought he was like an absolute star. And I know he had to go for 20 minutes to go, but up until that point I thought he was outstanding. And he's just, the debate will continue, like, and I don't think he'll get as much stick now, but the debate will continue about whether we need a better left back than Greg Taylor. But while he's here, he is the best left back at the club, that's undoubted. And yet again yesterday it was another absolutely brilliant performance from him. I know Ange says that it was heavy cramp that he went down with, so hopefully that is all it is and he's no missing for the upcoming games. And just as you say, that Tom Rogic, he's just a big game player. Like, we've spoken about it often enough, so I don't agree with it, but the fact that we nearly let this guy go to Middle East last year for relatively pennies compared to how much it would cost to replace him is sort of unbelievable. And the fact that he's another one who suffered the disappointment of last season, who's really bounced back. And when he went off against Ross County, some people just sort of thought they'd be missing this game, especially when they missed international duty. But for him to come back and have that impact again was just brilliant. And when you said it, like, some people create this myth and this sort of propaganda that Celtic are blowing out their arse after 60 minutes, but there's a point in the second half when Tom Rogic sort of left, I don't know who it was, it might have been Bathy or Balogun, but he just sort of glided by one of him in the second half, and it was almost like he was running in slow motion, but he was still outpacing whoever defender was. I can't quite mind who it was, but I thought Celtic they were just superb. Like Danny's mentioned, like Willie Collum sort of, he denied us a Stonewall penalty. I know Maeda had 2 chances to round McGregor. The first one McGregor recovers well and gets a hand to it, and then Rogic's shot is blocked. But the second one, like, I just don't understand. Like, this is the mob that have been shouting for VAR all year. I don't think they'll be shouting for it too much more if that's the sort of thing they're getting away with, because I just thought that it was unbelievable that it wasn't again, because he just clearly knocks the ball. McGregor makes no touch on the ball, and Maeda's run is clearly impeded by Alan McGregor, and it should be a penalty. And the fact that it wasn't, was just, I thought it was unbelievable. And then going through to the forward line, I thought Jackie Marcus pretty similar to the February game. He was absolutely brilliant. We were scoring, like, he does have that good chance in the first half that I'm sure he was disappointed with, but I thought all game he was just constantly, he was everywhere on the pitch and just winning balls 60 yards away from goal and gaining people an out ball. I thought his pass for Abada for that first Abada chance was absolutely sensational. Like, I think that would have been an incredible assist if Abada had finished it, but the sort of the way to pass was just superb, and Abada should have done better. He didn't even hit the target with that one. Jota, I thought that him and Maeda really interlinked well in terms of switching wings. I thought it caused a big problem for Rangers. They didn't really know how to handle either of them. Dyson Maeda, like another one who suffered some unnecessary criticism, I thought, but he is just outstanding. It's like having two players on the pitch because he's so energetic. Like, you know, this was all we were told when he signed was, oh, you're going to get the most sprints out of him. He made the most sprints in the J League, and he's just constantly going to be up and down. But it couldn't be any more true. He's so good at it, and he's a constant threat. The amount of times he got in behind yesterday, it must have been 2 or 3 times where he had good chances. As I said, he's tried to round McGregor twice, and he's just been absolutely brilliant for the last few weeks, and delighted for him. And then the subs, I think the subs were pivotal. Like, you look at when we lost to Ibrox in the early stages of the season, like that day off the bench, we were bringing guys like Sorrow and Adam Montgomery on, and no harm to them, but they're clearly not at the level that this Celtic team's at now. And having guys like Matt O'Reilly, who unfortunately got injured, and then David Turnbull, he was good when he came on, and just the quality, you know, these guys have. And Beaton again, I thought done well. I know he got the booting. I thought that was a very smart booting to take, because Rangers did look like they were breaking forward. Abada, as I mentioned, and Tony Ralston, and all. And like, you're never going to be disappointed to see somebody crunch Ryan Kent, but I thought everybody played their part yesterday, and as Danny started off with in this sort of episode, like, it's just complete vindication for Ange, and it's no surprise that the more that we've got his squad together and his squad buying into his ways and his methods, that we are in such a strong position. And it really does seem unbelievable, like, from where we were at this stage of last season. And the thing is, it's not even over. We've already got 1 trophy in the bag. We're well on our way to securing our 10th league title in 11 years, and potentially our 5th treble in 6 years, which is just incredible. And the fact that Ange has managed to do that, given what he came into, is just completely, it's sensational. And I know he won his 3rd Manager of the Month award in a row, but it's completely deserved. He's been an absolute revelation. But Danny, I'll let you have a word on Greg Taylor, because I know you, more than anybody on this podcast, have been a massive fan of him. Juranovic took all the headlines in the last Derby game, but I think yesterday Greg Taylor was rightly receiving a lot of credit after the game.
I think Taylor had another really good game. He's became a wee bit like Starfield. I think every time he plays well, you get the best game he's ever had in a Celtic jersey. I thought he played really well. I thought, like the rest of the defence and midfield, I thought there was the biggest problem in the first kind of 5-10 minutes was the disconnect between the midfield and the defence at times when they were trying to play it for the back. I don't think the midfield were drafting deep enough to get the ball, and Taylor kind of struggled a bit. He played a couple of bad passes, but really he's such a strong player, Taylor, for Celtic, and you just see the balance that he provides to the team. And that run where Jota played him in, he was the furthest forward player. He takes a really nice touch with the head, and maybe if he had a wee bit more confidence going forward, he'd have rattled a shot low and hard at goal there. But he picked Rogic out, and Rogic should have done better. I thought he did a really good game. I know he got wrong side there. I actually thought Aribo was offside, but I've not seen a replay it. But to get back, he didn't just compile, players panic there. You get caught wrong side. Some players would panic there and bring them down, get sent off, and then you're in deep shit. But he just kept his head, won the ball, and I thought the whole game he was really strong. And I know he came off, but I was really pleased for him. I thought he did a really good game, and I think if anybody deserved a bit of credit for the Celtic support this season, especially, it's Greg Taylor, because Juranovic has been there to suit Ralston at right back, and Scales has played there, and the boy Montgomery played a couple of games there as well at the start of the season, and people were saying Scales scored against, was it Raith Rovers, and everybody was saying, oh, this is it now, Taylor should never be in the team again. But when he's not in the team, you see how much Celtic miss the balance that he provides, him and Juranovic down the flanks, and I thought he was really good. I thought it was difficult to pick a man of the match for Celtic. I thought Joe Hart's handling was really good the whole game, but he didn't really have much to do apart from pick the ball in the net after a couple of minutes and then make one great save. Carter Vickers, I thought Starfelt struggled in the first half, but the second half he was immense. Carter Vickers was immense in the second half. Juranovic came into the game a wee bit. I thought Jota had a really good, strong game after the first 10 minutes. McGregor, Rogic, I'm probably stuck between the two. I thought Rogic had a really good game. And when he got on the ball more, that's when Celtic started to assert themselves. I know which we've already said, but I thought him and McGregor played really well. I don't think Hatate was that bad. I thought he was knackered, but I think he kind of stuck out a wee bit more because McGregor and Rogic were having such good games between them. I think Hatate maybe stood out a wee bit as if in a kind of quieter game, but Maeda's just a warrior. Like Dyson Maeda just kept going the whole game. Like I thought Sinclair used to keep Tavernier doing right night, but see Maeda yesterday, like Tavernier, you have nightmares of Maeda chasing him. He was all over him, won the ball back a couple of greats. That one, the second off, I think, was it McGregor that played it through, and he was on the right wing, and he just walked onto it. Like everybody else would have been sprinting, he just walked onto it, and there were nobody within about 30 yards of him. And I think he was just a wee bit too wide, or he could have, the angle to drive in at goal. But, Giakoumakis kept him honest, and that was another. Giakoumakis had a quieter game than what he did in February, but I thought the point stood that he kept Balogun and Goldson, he kept them in the rain off. He didn't let them stride forward, and that's what he provides. It's a physical threat that they two need to deal with, and I don't think they did. So really, really pleasing for the whole team to play well, but obviously Taylor gets a special mention because he does get a lot of stick. And I think there's somebody today, some XG stats said he did a really poor game, but I thought it was a disappointing. The headline was, I thought it was quite harsh because Taylor was kind of driving Celtic on the first half when the team were kind of floundering a wee bit at times in the first 20 minutes. So, no, really, really happy for him to have a good performance, and hopefully he can just keep it going, because I think, it's no one of these things that, you don't want to admit it or whatever, blah, blah. But Taylor's had a really strong season for Celtic, and he deserves it. He deserves add a couple of more trophies to winners' medals to his collection.
Definitely. Tony, we spoke about the 700 Celtic fans that had a party in the corner of Ibrox, but just on a more serious point, I thought that it's going to be an upcoming issue when Rangers come to Celtic Park, that they're going to be looking for a similar allocation. But yesterday I thought that more so than usual, that the fact, it's obviously more so than usual because one of your employees was actually struck with a glass bottle, and then obviously at the start of the second half, Joe Hart had to bring attention to the fact there was a glass bottle thrown at his goal as well, and it was a clear danger to our players. And even when the team were celebrating at the end, you seen missiles getting thrown at them. I don't know about you, and I know some people want them in so they can see Celtic getting them a doing, but for me, I would just be telling them absolutely not after that, because you can't even point to one section of the crowd yesterday that was out of order. It was coming from all sides at Ibrox that our players and staff were getting endangered.
I mean, it's no surprise to me whatsoever that that's the way they behave. I mean, we've seen this for forever. It's not a surprise. I mean, the guy had, I guess, a smash fast ball that lands where Joe Hart would be diving and trying to save shots. If he doesn't see that and he dives in a bit of glass, he'll slice his arm. So it just shows you what they are. They can't take getting beat. I mean, we quote tweeted the footage today when Vickers scores as a guy takes his belt off and starts making his way towards a pitch invasion. I mean, they're absolutely bonkers. They are. I mean, as you say, it's not a small minority. It's every section of the ground. I mean, I think they had banners yesterday about child abuse, and I mean, these are the same club. They've got a picture of the Queen on their dressing room, who thinks he's in the middle of paying £12 million compensation to help cover up one of the biggest paedophile rings in the world. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. There's nothing about that surprised me. It doesn't shock me. It's no incredibly unbelievable scenes. It shouldn't surprise anybody whatsoever. In terms of giving them 700 at Parkhead, I would assume that they're not going to get anywhere near our players. I'm assuming they probably have some kind of contractual obligation. But there needs to be questions asked. Where the fuck's the security? How are people getting glass bottles in? Do they need to probably make changes to that to prevent it in future? I get it, everybody wants a wee half bottle. You give you a buzz in a stadium. If they have a problem with people drinking at the games, I think it should be allowed anyway. But if people are going to start launching bottles at physios, I mean, I seen that guy's head, it looked quite serious. I mean, I just think it's absolutely mental. I mean, some people are just fucking crackers, but that's up for the clubs to decide. I don't want to pay too much attention to them. I mean, yesterday was all about us. It was all about the team and Postecoglou, who were absolutely outstanding. I don't want to talk about them. As I say, they're just fucking crackpots.
I just thought it was something that had to be brought up, just because it was. I know what you're saying. It's no a shock in terms of I'm shocked that it happened, but just on the sort of scale it happened yesterday, and obviously when somebody does it, it does get more attention brought to it.
It played right into our hands though with that, because they came out in the first half and flew out the traps and scored a goal, and they looked right on top of us, and then obviously we were 2-1 up all the time, but they'd have been thinking they were going to do that again in the second half. And then Joe Hart, who, milked it for what it was worth, and rightly so. But it took basically 5 minutes to start the second half, and you could sense the crowd. You spend the 50 minutes at half time, convincing yourselves, you're going to come in the second half and do what you did in the first half and equalise. But they just looked at the crowd. It took the crowd right out the game. as well. There wasn't that usual bounce at the start of the half in these games. It completely, they done it to themselves yesterday, because they get no changes, they get no momentum from the start of the second half, which they did at the first, because they probably came out all buzzing and ready to go, the crowd in it, and then 5 minutes later the game's not kicked off, and you're just kind of, the crowd are more interested in just getting the game back on rather than kind of making it any hostile for the Celtic players. So they done it to themselves, and there was a few incidents yesterday. It was really unsavoury, and I'm glad to hear the Celtic physio was alright. But even like Jota was getting stuff flung at him before he took a corner, and this is it's just stupid, because one of these days something really wrong's going to happen, and nobody wants that, because as Tony says, you want to be able to have a drink at the football and enjoy yourself at the football more like that everybody else does, so at other sports. So but it's not going to, things like that just doesn't do your argument any favours, unfortunately. But hopefully, glad that everybody's alright and nothing bad happened. But thanks to the guy that done that at the second half, because McGave basically took their crowd right out of the game again.
He would have said that to you in the chat this morning. I thought that it did sort of absolutely benefit Celtic, and as you say, Joe Hart, I think he was sort of telling the players to just sort of stay at the side and no get ready, and as you said, they've probably spent that time doing their team talk, and they've been not fired up, and then seen that they can't even get started because of the actions of one of their own supporters. But Andy, you anything else you want to add on yesterday, or you want to be first to speak about the St Johnstone game that's upcoming?
Listen, it doesn't surprise me. At the end of the day, Tony, I don't know how to give him any more airtime. Completely agree with what Danny's just said, but what that's done is benefit us. It's delayed the start to their half. I mean, even their players have seen that, and for them, it will be the same for them. Like, they'll be worried about, because they need to play in the same pitch, you know what I mean? Like, they'll be thinking about if I can go and slide into glass or something. So whatever fucking banger's done that, it's just an idiot, but it's only benefited us that happening. But I hope he had a fucking terrible sleep, and he's got nightmares of a big Angie's team just causing riots. But no, it's, as I said, the teams just fills me with pride watching them, and just so much hope for what Ange can actually do. There really is, the sky's the limit for this guy and this team, and I can't wait to see what happens with sort of getting into next season, and hopefully if we manage to get the league title wrapped up, we'll get a chance at another treble, and then he's got a full run at sort of a European campaign, so that's all something to look forward to. But as he said, and as Callum McGregor said after the game, we're right back in training today. He's fully focused on the next game. That's obviously St Johnstone, which another one, as we said a million times, these are all cup finals. They should all be treated like cup finals. The players will go into that with the exact same attitude that they did yesterday before the Rangers game, and I've got no doubt in my mind that they'll treat it the same and be as professional and going about their business. Maida will probably cover another 1,000 mile during that game, but looking forward to it. I suspect we'll maybe see one or two changes. Obviously a few players went off with niggles. Taylor obviously took a bit of a hit. O'Reilly goes off again. I mean, Tumble did come off the bench, and he's been come off the bench against Ross County as well, if I remember rightly, so I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see him sort of back in the starting lineup, maybe sort of a Bada coming in. So I don't see too many changes, but I think we'll keep it sort of fairly as close to that team as we can. But as I mentioned earlier, if you look at Hatate, he does look like somebody that's maybe struggling with fatigue and things like that, and it's, again, the guy's played a full season of football at this point. He was travelling away with obviously the Japan team. It's a lot of flying to be doing as well after sort of playing that much football, and he came in and was straight away sort of playing 90 minutes for us. So I think maybe a break might benefit him. So yeah, somebody who maybe Tumble would come in for him, or maybe you see sort of Beaton come in again as well. I suspect that sort of middle three will see the most change. I think McGregor will obviously be there, but I think the two either side of him will be changed personnel, which again, I think that's probably a wise choice. And again, I don't know if Taylor's going to be sort of fit and ready to start, but maybe that would be another change if sort of Juranovic comes across and Ralston comes in. But as we've said, look, we're in such a good place now where I'm confident that whoever comes in is really the squad's sort of not knows weak. We're not going to find ourselves in a worse place. There's so much quality, especially on that bench yesterday. I've already mentioned a few. There was O'Reilly, there was Tumble, Ralston, Beaton, Abada. Again, another one who I've been looking forward to seeing for the longest time, Ideguchi. I think there will be a player there in him. Another one that is just unfortunate with the position he plays with. Fucking get so many players with just bags and bags of ability in that middle of the park. So I'm actually looking forward to that game the weekend. And obviously it's a Saturday 3 o'clock kick-off. No something that we get all that often. We say like obviously that more so happens this time of the year when Europe's done and things like that. But no, I'm looking forward to it. And as I said, I reckon the team will go into it with so much confidence. just winning a game like that will do so much for us, and I reckon we will take a couple of goals off them and just try to keep things going, keep ticking up, and just get the league mathematically done as soon as possible.
Yep, obviously it's going to be a completely different type of game. Like, we're against a team that's fighting for their life, so second bottom of the league, but they have picked up a bit of form recently. They've won the last two and drew the one before that, so it's a completely different type of task. And Danny, from about Friday lunchtime until about 10:44 yesterday, the one name on every Celtic fan's lips was Kyogo, because he's back in training and says he's available. Obviously he wasn't in the matchday squad yesterday. Will we see him come full circle and make his return against St Johnstone, the team that he did sustain that injury against on Boxing Day?
It would be great to get him back, because I think I've been thinking for the longest time that he was going to be the bit took us over the line, him coming back in terms of the league, but we've managed to, well, we've not won the league, don't get me wrong, but we've put ourselves in a great position. I thought it before him, and it was a really strange one that Ange said that he was fit and he was itching and raring to go. It all pointed to him playing, and then not even involved in the squad. I did think that was odd, and I put it in the group chat. I thought that was a boost for them before a ball was even kicked, and then after 3 or 4 minutes I was like, oh, this is... I would have just put him on the bench just to kind of be there. Same way that I thought they would put Ramsey on the bench when they signed him in February. So no, I was surprised at that he didn't play. I was quite disappointed that he wasn't in the squad, but thankfully all's where it ends where, and Ange was saying I don't think he wanted to risk him. But the way the game played out, I think the way we were talking on Friday in our group chat was that, I think me and Tony said that you know, Jack Marcus will rough him up, and then Kyogo come on and kind of finish the job. And the game was set up perfectly for him, because nae tell me Abada, I think he's a brilliant player, but Kyogo puts both of them away. Chances that Abada gets, so maybe it played out. Maybe we do know what we're talking about in that group chat. Not very often, but sometimes we know a thing or two. But no, looking forward to Saturday. Chance to go 9 clear. Imagine going 9 clear in April after what we've sat through at the start of the season, and knowing six in the league for what is it, until the end of September or something. So it just goes to show you that, you know, you don't win leagues at Christmas, and you know, you don't book your title parties in Christmas either. So a chance to go 9 clear. Kyogo coming back would be such a boost. So when he can throw him in for the start, he can bring, you know, even to bring him on. Maybe it's worth, I mean, it's all platitudes in it, but maybe it's worth us being a couple of goals up to before bringing him on, and he gets a big ovation off the crowd, because Parkhead will be absolutely buzzing on Saturday, and I'm looking forward to it. And I think that if you were to get him back, it gives the fans another boost in it. So hopefully he is, you know, itching and ready to go, as Ange says, and we can get him back, because I still think, despite everything, I think he's probably the best player we've got. We really did. I mean, the team deserve credit, the manager deserves credit, just for how they've managed to keep winning. It's not like, I mean, the form that we're on is incredible. I know we're a draw away for Hibs. If we win, is it winning like 11 or 12 in a row, apart from that draw with Hibs? So just thinking, if we could have snuck a winner in the games, even just the one of them would be 8 points clear with a significant goal difference. So the team deserve a lot of credit for the way they've responded without Kyogo, and hopefully it's not too long before we're seeing him scoring for Celtic again.
Aye, hopefully, as you say, like, as confident as I'm sure every Celtic fan is now that we can secure the league. They'll still go win the games that are there. There's 6 games left to go. Having Kyogo back for that would be absolutely massive, and we've still got a cup competition we're in. We've got a big semi-final coming up in a few weeks as well, and it's something that would be a massive boost just in terms of the whole squad. I think that Kyogo will just bring so much to the team. Like, the first half of the season was absolutely outstanding, and I think everybody's just desperate to get him back, and I'm really looking forward to Saturday. It's, as Andy said, you rarely get a Saturday 3 PM at Celtic Park, but got one coming up, and it's one to look forward to. I think it'll be a full crowd at Celtic Park. Hopefully the weather's nice, and it could just be another one of the great days, and hopefully we do go out and do a number on St Johnstone. I think that we're well capable of doing that. We went to McDermott Park in December with a depleted squad. You had Boy Dawson up front, and we won pretty comfortably that day. Somebody was mentioned earlier about a possible change. I think it was Andy that said that it was Beaton was very good that day, so maybe he'll come back in. But I think it will be much of the same lineup. I think that Kyogo is the only one that I would I know if he's fit, I'd be happy to start him, but at the same time, if you've got that full capacity crowd and you want to ease Kyogo back in, then you bring him on with half an hour to go, you're going to get one of the loudest ovations you've heard at Celtic Park this season if you do bring him on. And hopefully we would have the game well sewn up, and it could just be a chance for Kyogo to just get back scoring. But Tony, what are you thinking about this St Johnstone game? It's the type of game that Celtic would be looking for. They're a tough 90 minutes yesterday, but at this end of the season, every game can be tricky. And as I said, St Johnstone are fighting for their lives down at the bottom of the table.
I think for us as fans, yesterday, I think a lot of people would have been saying that's it, the league's over and enjoying the party, and it was a significant day, but we're 6 clear, there's still 18 points to play for. I've got no doubt that the manager will have the team well drilled, that absolutely fuck all is won. They still need to go out and put in a performance. As you say, St Johnstone have got a lot to play for. They maybe want to kind of, I don't think they can really move now, but they obviously want to gain more ground on Dundee. I think it's a perfect game to bring Kyogo back. He deserves an ovation for his return for what he done the first half of the season. It's crazy to think we've actually put such a great run of form in, and he's been out since the end of December. It's now the 4th of April, so I think you'll maybe change it up slightly. I know O'Reilly and Taylor, I think the manager says they were fine after their kind of knocks they took, so I'm looking forward to it. The stadium will be absolutely bouncing. As you've said, it's a chance to put even more pressure on Rangers. They've not got long to recover before they need to go away to Braga and play the quarter-final of the Europa, and then they're away to St Mirren. So it's a chance for us to really ramp it up. They're already chasing us desperately and in a kind of perilous position in terms of the league. So we need to beat St Johnstone, and then 5 games left. I think you would need 3 wins out of 5 to guarantee the league, and it's mad to be saying that. I know, I think every time something good's happened this season, we've kind of went, wow, could you imagine seeing this after the mess it was last season? But the good thing for me is the manager's very calm. He doesn't seem to get too emotional, whether it's a victory or a defeat, until it's actually won. So I think St Johnstone's an opportunity for us to they've obviously not a good season. It's an opportunity for us to hopefully rack up a good win. I'm sure the players will be buzzing off Sunday, but at the same time they'll know to be wary of St Johnstone, and I expect a big performance and a big result from us. And then, as I say, they need to go to St Mirren already 9 behind, want to cut the gap to 6. I guess if you win on Saturday, it's 10 points. It was the goal difference now 16. Very unlikely they'll claw that back. So no, we're in a fantastic position. I can't wait for the game. I fucking woke up today and I was like, fuck, I wish it was Saturday already. Instead, I think the next couple of Mondays I'm off fucking 5 out of 6. So I'm looking forward to it. A lot of great games coming up, and I just can't wait to get back to the football.
Aye, well, I'll take your prediction first for Saturday, Tony.
4-0. I think Kyogo come off the bench and get one. I think Mader's due a goal. I'll take him for a goal. I think Jota's due a goal as well, so I'll take him to get a double. So I think a really professional performance. I know in the past we've made a bit of an arse of it. We know many games to go, but I just feel as though this team and this manager with the work rate, they won't allow St Johnstone to get in and out of the game over the 90 minutes.
I'm pretty confident as well. I think I'm going to go for 5-0 Celtic. Goal scorers, I agree with Maida. I think he's due to get on the score sheet again. I think Carol Saffret, I'm going to keep saying it until he scores, because I think he just deserves a goal. He's been superb recently, and I'd love him to go on the score sheet. I think Kyogo will start on the bench, and I think he'll come on and get the 5th goal. That is my prediction there. Danny, what you're saying?
I think it will be 2-0. I think there's a chance that if we score a couple of goals like we did against Ross County, we could score a couple more, maybe 4 or 5. But I'll say 2. I agree with you. I think Maeda's going to Tony, and Maeda's going to score, and I reckon go for Kyogo off the bench. Why not?
And Andy, who are you going for?
I actually agree with Tony. I think 4-0 sticking in my mind. I'll go for I think this will probably be the one Kyogo comes back for. Actually, get a feeling he might start the game, so I'll go with Kyogo scoring. I reckon Tumble's going to feature quite heavily as well. Kyogo, Tumble, Abada will get a goal, and we'll see McGregor with another goal as well.
There you go, a very positive pod today. Just before we go, thank our sponsors, Football Prizes. They're giving away a double prize this week. It must be quite the week, and what a way this would be to wind it up by winning a double prize. So the first prize they're giving away is a Scott Brown signed framed Celtic shirt, and the other prize that comes along with that is an Ange Postecoglou signed and framed montage. So it's a couple of wee pictures of Ange signed. They're both cracking prizes. They are given away as a double prize, so one person will win both. It'd just be an absolutely outstanding prize to win. You can win it for $3.95. You just basically pick a number between $1.99 and you can use the code 4Tims10. That will get you 10% off your ticket. The competition closes on 7:30 this Thursday which I believe, let me just check, is the 7th of April. So 7:30 and the 7th of April you'll need to get your ticket by, and I believe the draw is Friday night over on the Football Guys' Facebook page. But it's a great competition. If you can get involved, you've got a great chance of winning some great prizes and just helping support this podcast as well. And if you also want to help support this podcast without spending a penny, then if you could go to wherever you get your podcast, especially if you listen on Spotify, they've just recently put that you can rate your podcast. So if you want to go to our page on Spotify and give us a wee rating, like obviously 5 stars because we are the World Cup winner of Celtic podcast, so we expect 5 stars and nothing else. But if you could do that, that would help us out. And we also passed 10,000 followers on Twitter today, so thanks to everybody that follows us over there. I know some people don't, but that is generally where you'll hear us tweeting and updating you on all the to-date 4Tims and 4Tims stuff. But thank you very much to everybody who has taken time to listen to this episode. I know it's a bit longer than usual, and most of all, a big thank you to Ange Postecoglou for delivering Celtic from evil and putting us on the brink of glory. Thank you very much, and hail hail.
Such a feeling's coming over me.
Just as the only explanation I can find.